right. Hi there, good afternoon. Let's see. First time you see what? There we go. Hi there. Oh, Linda, you're over there today. You're not in person. Good. I'm glad you could join us. That's Linda who is there normally. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Patricia. And let's see who's here. Jackie and Nima. All right. Nice to see you guys. And Linda, nice to see you from over there. All right. So I'm gonna let you guys head over to the chat and give me a little check-in. That was mine. Hi. Okay. So, put this over here and hope people show up very soon. All right. So, last class, I asked you to keep organizing your folders, if possible in the documents folder, in the putting all your files in there. I also asked you to put the stuff that was in your desktop documents folder. Then we began to explore a little bit more about how to use the Finder's search features, like the recents, to find things. Who remembers what's the recents?
It's a search.
Hold on, someone, 1 second, I need to respond. Someone's saying that they're on an iPhone, but give me a second because I need to reply. There we go. I need to, someone saying that they're traveling and they're recording, trying to see who that might be. So, okay. If they happen to see my chat, they might tell me their name. All right, sorry about that. I was saying, who wants to tell me what the recents are?
Helps to find the address of the document.
Show me again, Pat, tell me again how you said that. It's not better. I just want to hear how you said it.
It helps to find our address, like where our document present in the computer. Right?
A search.
So
Based on what? It's a search. It's something that helps us find where our files are based on what criteria? Based on the criteria of date of what? Of the most recent what?
Files.
Created,
Not created,
modified.
but more than not even modified, no. Used.
open.
Thank you.
Used.
Between all of that, we pieced it together. You all began to give the right words one by one. Yes. It's based on a search. The criteria is documents last used. So there's only one where I wavered because looked at, you could look at without using it, like with a quick view, right? You can do that little hit the space bar, see what it is and put it down, and that's not considered used. You're just checking it out. Used would be you opened it in the program it was created. For example, Word, you were asking Andrea today, it's a program where you write letters. And so had you opened a program in Word, that would be considered used, even if you do nothing. So someone said modified. No, it doesn't mean necessarily modified, just opened in that program. Okay. So you could open it and decide, nah, I'm not going to change anything. And maybe it's a cookie recipe. You open, you make your cookies and you close it. You don't need to change anything because the cookie recipe is fine, right? So it's not modified, it's just opened, or basically it's called used for whatever purpose it is. Great, so it's a search feature to find your last used documents. On top of that, something Nima said, it also helps you find where your files are actually saved and what folders they really are. Because if you look at the path bar, you could see. Now that path bar is something I had you guys turn on, okay? On its own, that path bar wasn't necessarily, like, if you don't come to this class and you turn on that path bar, you don't know where things are. You know what I'm trying to say? In the recents. All it does is show you the file. Let me just show you for a second what I mean. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
And nice to see you. And then let me put you guys over here on the side. And I think, Michelle, hi, how are you? All right, so I was just opening a window here, a Finder window. Let me share it. It opened in the wrong monitor. And I just wanted to say that the recents, for those of you who just joined, we've been remembering what it was. So we found out it's just a search feature allowing us to see the files in order. The criteria of that search is in order of the last opened, right? Last time, the one that you opened latest, so to say. But someone mentioned it allows you to see where they are. And it's not that it's wrong. I just want to caution you. The recents folder doesn't allow you to see where they are. Because what it lets you do is find it and just open it, but you have no idea where it is unless you turned on this path bar, which is something I had you guys turn on. But on a computer, as it comes from the so to say, let me just turn off. Wait, I need to hide the status bar and hide the path bar. When you bought your computer up until you took this class, that's what a Finder window looks like. You don't have that status bar. You don't have that path bar. So the recents doesn't tell you where any of these things are, right? It just, if you don't know where it is, and this is the one you want to open, you just double click and it opens. So in reality, it's a way to find files when you don't know where they are, but you do know when you last used it, okay? It so happens that I find it very useful to know where things are. So I had you guys turn on the path bar and the status bar. So now you can also see that that is in your desktop, which is in your computer. Does that make sense? That's just because of that bar that you guys turned on. But in general, that bar, once you turn it on, it stays, no matter if you're in recents or in desktop or in documents, that just stays. And so it helps you know. If this wasn't on, if this two bars weren't on, and I was in here looking at this file, how would I know what folder I'm in? I would know because A, this thing is highlighted, and B, up there, it also says documents. See that? If I were to be, this is inside of the class files. So if I were to click on that file in there, it would still tell me it's in documents. It would not tell me it's inside of class files that then is in documents. It would just tell me it's in documents. But this path bar now tells me it's in the class files that are in the documents, that it's in my computer. Okay, so that path bar gives us so much more information than anything else can give us. Okay. All right, so let me see. Hi, Dorothy. I'm seeing someone else showed up while I was talking. No, that's it. So today I'm going to show you a couple more. Well, first, let me check in with everyone. You were supposed to create folders in your documents and put files in there. However many of you got 10 files done or all your files done, as long as you did some of that, give me a yes, those of you who are at home, and raise your hands, those of you who are here. Okay, so you managed to make some files to put some stuff in the folders. Jane, how's it going with you at home? Because you don't bring your computer, so I can't see. No, I know.
I'm in the process of removing everything so I can buy a new,
Okay,
because I don't want some of the old stuff moved to the new. So
Okay.
I'm in the listening stage here.
okay,
Because everything is in my downloads, that's all gone.
okay,
I really don't write a lot of letters. A lot of
yeah,
documents,
okay.
So this is, I have to
Mhm.
get it.
Okay, great.
I mean,
And just so you know, and I mean, nothing wrong with what you're doing. In case you didn't hear you, Jane has a desktop at home, and so other people bring their laptops. I can kind of see how they're doing, but I can never see how Jane's doing. So I was checking in with how she's doing at home, and at home, she's emptying out her computer of stuff that she doesn't want because she's going to buy a new computer and doesn't want all that stuff in there. It's nothing wrong in doing that, but I just want to let you know that it makes no difference if you put it in the new computer and get rid of it from there. You know what I mean? It's just doesn't, it's, yeah, like it doesn't matter at all where you get it rid from. If you're ready to buy a computer and you find a good time, a good sale, the money is right or whatever, just get it, don't wait. Now, if you're waiting because you're not sure yet, that's fine. Keep waiting and keep working on your stuff, right? But there's no reason to say, someone else in another one of my classes bought a new computer and brings it in here and it's still empty and all his other stuff is in the old one. And I'm like, hurry up, because at some point your old one's gonna die. You know, I just don't want it to get, all the bad stuff. I'm like, well, this is different. He's a PC user, it's in my Photoshop classes, and he's had viruses and stuff. So that kind of makes more sense. PC users get a lot of viruses and trying not to put the viruses in the new computer, but Macs don't have that, okay? So in the Mac world, you shouldn't need to worry. So there's some reasonableness to what he's doing, but not if it's in a Mac. In a Mac, you just transfer your stuff, download your ID, stuff goes in there, and that's it, right? So anyway, that said, when you have your Apple ID and your stuff in the cloud, so I'm seeing that most of you guys at home, or all of you guys at home, said that you did clear or make folders. So I'm going to clear your answers. Couple of here didn't. Louisa, is your stuff all done and ready, and that's why you didn't?
Well, I don't have any files.
None at all?
No, I made a folder, but
Okay, because remember that I said I have files that I gave Jane to download to practice with. If you need to practice, you can download files of mine to organize. I'm not sure, I wasn't sure that hadn't happened, because on people who didn't have files, who have a new computer that's empty, there's a folder in the handouts that you can download. And if you're interested, if you want to, I'm not going to make you do it, but if you want to, if you go to the, I'm sharing my screen for those of you at home, same deal. If you go to the class handouts, there's a folder here called class files to download. If you right click and download it, this will go into your downloads folder, and let me open it. And there's some folders in there, but when you open miscellaneous files to be organized, there's a lot of junk in there. Junk that you can play around with, do stuff with, delete, trash, mess around, who cares? It's not real files for you. When class is over and you've learned how to organize, just delete them all. Okay, so it's just so that you have something to work with and practice these exercises. So if you want to do that, I can show you how to get here and help you download them. So you have something to practice this. Otherwise, this is one of those things that if you don't practice, in theory, it's all good, but until you do it, you don't really understand what isn't working. You don't really understand if you know how to rename a file or folder, or how to put a folder inside of another folder. Does that make sense? And in fact, for the class that we're going to do today, you're going to need to have files with folders inside of folders. And if you don't, you won't be able to do it. So I'm going to, if you want to do that, I can do that right now with you. And if not, I'll continue with the class, and it's up to you. Yes, Andrea?
I have this thing in Pages, and I wanted it to be in a PDF.
Mhm. That is something that I can't teach you right now. Ask me during break. But yeah, what she's asking is about the work program Pages. Pages is a program that comes with a Mac, equivalent to Word, which is a Microsoft program that allows you to do writing, desktop publishing, basic flyers, letters, newsletters, whatever, just lots of writing kind of thing. And all you need to do if you want is just save as, and then one of the choices will be PDF, and that'll turn it into a PDF. But that's one of the classes that I'm trying to get to push through, that I can teach you guys Pages, Numbers, and Keyword. Those three applications come with your computer, and yet they don't we don't have a class keynote to explain them. They're equivalent to Words, Excel, and PowerPoint, right? They're the Mac versions. Anyway, someone just showed up. Let me see. Oh, Honora. Hi, Honora. Oh, and Fred at some point showed up too, and I didn't say hi to Fred. Okay. So do you want to do that, Lisa?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a second while I help Lisa. Okay, go to student. And student resources. Right. That. Then right click. And now in your downloads folder, you'll have a bunch of stuff that you can practice with. Okay. So, let me see. I was just checking in with everyone and who had been able to organize their files or not. Most people said they did. I didn't check in with you. You do have some filing, okay. Helen, you said you didn't, what was the stopping point?
What?
You said you didn't raise your hand saying that you didn't, I said, did you organize some files into folders?
Yes.
Oh, you did, okay.
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did,
I
you
made
did
some
raise your hand, yeah, you
folders,
and.
And I have been working on
Mhm.
seeing what I've got that are just not in folders.
Yeah.
And where they belong.
Yeah, and you have a
trying
lot
to
of
get them
folders.
in.
From what I remember from last week, you have a lot of folders already, and when you open them, you found some things that shouldn't be in there. So you're also reorganizing those
Right,
folders that you
right.
have. Okay,
But
so
I'm
it's a
still
long one.
having difficulty with
Mhm.
just the whole process.
Okay,
Coming up with where I just can delete and know what I'm deleting. I open something up. And then when I close it out again, and maybe I want to delete it, but then I'm not sure what I just opened up.
okay, that's a good point. So because I'm trying to figure out today what I want you to do, those of you who said, yes, you did it. What I want you to do is tell me what your problems are, if you ran into any problems, which is what Helen's mentioning. And that's a really valid question. So let me share my entire screen now. There we go. And so basically what she said, in case you guys didn't hear it, is she has a lot of folders and files. She has a lot of stuff on her computer. But she says, I don't know what the file is. And I open it up and I decide I don't want it. When I close it, I don't know where that file was or what file that was. Does that make sense? And it's like, yeah, where is that file again? So the first thing I'm going to say, just to avoid that happening, is to not open the file. But I keep saying that and I don't explain myself. So now let me explain myself. Here I have a file that's a PDF and a file that's a docx, which means that will open it on a Mac in something called Preview. This will open in the Microsoft Office program called Word. So my first suggestion would be don't open it, just hit the space bar, which is kind of like opening it, but you're not really, you're looking at it. And that alone means that if you hit the space bar again and you decided you don't want it, right there, it's still selected. So then it's easy to go, oh, that's the one I didn't want, move to the trash, right? Because I didn't really open it. The space bar is the big solution to all these problems. You hit the space bar, you look at it, and then you close it. Now, the good news is that if you do decide you want to open it, after doing that, you could just continue and say open with, and over here it's proposing open with Adobe Acrobat Reader. So it'll tell you what it thinks it should open with. So if I click on this one and I hit the space bar to see it, and I go, oh yeah, I need to change the dates or something like that on this one, then I could then open in Microsoft Word. See that? Because this computer knows that a docx should be opened in Microsoft Word. Same with this. I'll look at this data contacts generator. It's an XLSX, which means an Excel file. I won't open it per se. I will do a quick view. This is a quick view. And I look at it and I go, oh yeah, that's a whole bunch of contacts. If I'm saying I want to change it, organize it to something, I will open it with Microsoft Excel. But if not, if I go, oh no, I don't need this anymore, I hit the space bar, it's still highlighted. So in that sense, this is the best way of knowing what file you're looking at because it's still highlighted. So then you can easily say, I want it, I don't want it, I want to trash it, I want to put it in a folder. Does that make sense, you guys? So using the quick view is definitely the way to go if later you won't know what file you were looking at. Okay? Helen, is that working for you? Hit the space bar.
Yeah, I just did it. I just moved something to trash.
Okay, there you go, because it maintains its selection. And that's the best way to go. Now, say that you truly either didn't notice that you double clicked or you for sure wanted to open it. So if you double click from here, double click, it begins to actually open. I don't know if you guys can see, but down here, the Excel program is getting ready to open. It's going to open up, and this is what's called opening the file. You will see that this file, let's remember, data generator contacts, will soon appear at the top of my recents list where it wasn't there before, because I'm opening it now. Does that make sense? But there it is. It opened. It opened in a file called, in a program called Excel. This is opening a file. Up on the top, it says Excel. It does not say Finder anymore. I am in the program called Excel. I go in here and I make a change, whatever I'm going to do. I'm going to weather a test. I save that and I close it. And there it is right now. It's still selected, but I could have had it open for a long time and it wouldn't still be selected. But then, yes, it would be hard to know where. So if you had opened it, say 2 weeks ago, and you just left it open, a lot of people leave files open all the time, say that it's still open. And I go and I select the word kitty or the word license. When I finally close this one, I'm like, I have no idea where that file was. Which one was it? I didn't want it anymore. I want to trash it. Now I don't remember where it was. Does that make sense? I mean, we now know because I'm looking at the file, but no, if you have hundreds of files, you might not remember which one did I have open. So if you do open a file in its program, the file name is still up there. And this is a trick, and this is only for people who have any program open. So Word, Pages, Excel, Numbers, any of those. Little trick. I can go to that file name, but it still doesn't tell me where it is. And I can right click and then it'll give me the path. It'll tell me data generator is inside of documents, which is inside of DE Musakyo, which is the server. This is the path. So this is inside of that, which 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 is inside of that. So that's just in case the file is open and you're like, I have zero idea where this came from. The file name, when you right click, gives you the path. And when I say the path, notice data generators and documents, documents, DE Musakyo, which is in users, Mac OS in the Wake Center. And look down here in the path bar, that file said it was in data generator, was in documents and DE Musakyo and users in the Mac OS in the computer. So it's telling me to give me that same information. Now, you don't always have that. That's not usually or always what's happening. So I'm going to say that I'm going to open now DOCX, which is Word. If Word Excel now is open, see that? So it stayed open. So when I open another Excel file, it opens really quickly because it's already open. But if I open a DOCX, which is a Word file, and I double click, it's going to have to first open the application. See over here where it's jumping up and down? And then when it's done, it'll open it. The first time when you open an app, it takes much more time. So it also isn't the best way to see your files when you know whether to delete them or not, because it takes time to open an application. And there it is, it's open, and you go, oh yeah, no, I want it or not want it. Jesus, I wonder where it is. You can right click, oh, it's in my class files in my documents. Okay, at least I know where it is. So that's a little right click on the file name. Okay, this works for any program that you have. Yes.
Yeah, I opened some of these. I mean, I just,
Double click. If it's a folder,
and then I get a folder.
yeah, so it
And I
doesn't
don't know
open
what
a
to do
folder.
with
It
that.
doesn't open a folder. What you're saying is that you're doing this spacebar thing on a file gives you the file, but on a spacebar, when you hit the spacebar, it just tells you this is a folder. That's what you're seeing right now.
It tells me what,
It's a folder. All it says is it's a folder because that's all it can show you. If I open it up, then I can look what's inside that folder. Oh, that's what's inside the folder. And oh, that's what's inside that folder. Does that make sense? A folder, when you do the space bar, just says, oh, I'm the folder called Mac class, because that's all it can do. It's
then
just a
this-
folder called Mac class.
okay, I double clicked on that now. This
No,
is
you
what's
didn't double
inside
click.
of
That you didn't
folder.
double click. That's a space bar. Space bar, that's a space bar only that you did. When you do that, it's a space bar. Do space bar again for it to close. Space bar, hit your space bar. There you go. It's a space bar. That's it, not double clicking. Double clicking is actually, and
Open.
double click, and now it's opening. Now Acrobat is opening over there.
now
So
if
when I
just
double click, I am
hit
truly,
this again,
okay, now you have opened that one. You did double click on that one and you opened it in Word. Over there, you have a program called Word.
Yeah.
So now, if you
Now
want
it
to,
looks like it's something like a problem.
if you want to delete it from here, you can't. Okay, thanks for saying that again. This is why I like people telling me their problems, because then I get, oh, that's true. So when the file is open inside of social, in Word or inside of Excel, I can't delete it from here. You can't delete a file from its program. You can create it, you can close it, I can go to File and close it, but I can't delete. So opening up a program, a file, doesn't help me clean up my computer. Helen, are you listening? Opening it up in Word, right, by double clicking, doesn't allow me to then delete this. I look at it and go, oh, okay, I don't need this anymore. I can't do anything. I still have to go to Finder, find it, and delete it from my Finder. That's where I get rid of stuff from my Finder, the stuff that I've been teaching you all along. You don't delete a file from its open application, okay? You would have to go back to this one, go, oh, I don't need it. Remember where it is. This is a flyer for a class I taught in 2014. I definitely don't need that anymore. So I'm gonna get rid of it. But if it's in Word, the only way I have to know where it is would be if I did that. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to go look in the class files and my documents. Okay, so I have to close it from Word. And then I have to go into my Finder window, go into my documents, open my class files, find it and go, oh yeah, I don't need it anymore. Right click, trash. That's where I'll delete it from. So opening it up only helps you see the file. But as I said before, seeing the files you can do just by hitting the space bar. So why bother opening it up? Does that make sense, you guys? It's just so much quicker and so much easier. And because you can't close it from the program. So this one is Acrobat opened up. I'm looking at this folder. I can't do anything. This is an Acrobat. I close it. I have to close the program. In this case, I'm going to get rid of the program. And there it is. That's the file I opened. And if I had seen it from here, I would have known I didn't want it anymore. Right click, move to trash. Does that make sense, you guys? The Finder is still where you organize your files from, always, no matter what. Yes.
If I go to Finder and I go to Application and I see McAfee, which I'm trying to get rid of,
Mhm.
can I just delete it from Applications and it's gone? Like that? If I'm going to Finder. without
Yes and
application-
no, it's a great question. Jane is asking, if I go to applications and find a program that I don't want, can I just right click and delete it? Would that work? Is that enough? She's saying, would that make it be gone? Right? And if it's a file, yes, that would delete it. But some of these applications, like McAfee, put files and folders in other places because they're checking your entire computer. So you would get rid of most of it, but not all of it, just so you know. But enough of it that it would go away. There's installers that come. So if I open this folder with Adobe InDesign, it should have come. It sometimes comes with Adobe is different because it's not, sometimes the folders come with, uninstallers sometimes. You might see a folder, I'm not seeing one in here, that also says uninstall. And let me see. No, none of these say uninstall. So if you find an uninstaller program, you double click on that and uninstall, and it goes into the corners and delete stuff. But other than that, yeah, go in here and right click and delete. Now you can't all install everything. So this is a Mac app that comes with a Mac. If I right click, notice that there's no move to trash. So you can't delete the the apps that come with the Mac, that are part of the Mac making it work, okay? But yes, an added program like Microsoft PowerPoint is added, it's not a Mac, I can just right click and move to trash. Okay, so yeah, all right. Okay, so McAfee is not a Mac program and you should be able to right click and trash. So yeah, good question, thank you. I'm seeing another hand in here, but I'm trying to look at the people at home. Remember, if you ran into any problem getting your files organized, Helen Payne pointed out two really great things, which is she sees and doesn't know where they were once she's opened them. And my response was, try not to open it. Try to just quick view it. Okay, and then you hit open, close. It's a space bar, space bar. Now, for those of you who are seeing a lot of stuff that you do want, you could also, and this is for people who see things that they're just checking them. So it's typical, like I have a folder called screenshots now that I made the other day. Did I? I made it in the other computer. So I'm going to select all of these screenshots, which since it's alphabetical order, they're happening really easily. And I'm going to call this screenshots. So I just put all my screenshots in a folder called screenshots. So I'm going to double click the folder called screenshots. And here you do, I am in the folder called screenshots. Now, I don't want to spacebar, go to the next one, spacebar, go to the next one, spacebar. Does that make sense? I just want to see them one after the other. So I can just do spacebar one time. And then in your keyboards, there's always an arrow, a set of arrows on the bottom right. I can just start going down arrow, down arrow, down arrow, down arrow, down arrow. See what I mean? And I can see them all really quickly and then go, yeah, all the screenshots that I have here that are the ones that I put in the videos, I don't need that. So I can go right there, move that one to trash. Next one. Oh, no, don't want this one. Right click, move to trash. Right, move. And so every time I find one that's me, these are all screenshots I do that I then put in the videos. Once they're done, I don't need them anymore, but I'm keeping the ones that are not those, right? So I'm looking, and here we go again. So right click, move to trash. Does that make sense? So that's an easier way to just look through all this stuff and go, and then you're left with the stuff that you do want. And then there you go. I've just deleted, I don't know, 10 of them pretty quickly because 10 of them of these screenshots I didn't want. Now I'm left with the ones that I need to say, oh, okay, so this I do want to keep. So once I decide I want to keep it and it was a screenshot, when I go and go down again, now I go right click rename. And this is my artboards sample screenshot, for example, a screenshot. And this is one that I know I will put in my class files for Photoshop because that is one that I do need. Does that make sense? Some of this is like too much too fast. I understand because some of you guys have been doing this for a while. But for those of you whom this is the first time you're doing this kind of stuff, then all I just really want you to learn is to select one click, spacebar, look at it and go, want it, don't want it. If I want it, fine. If I don't want it, if I don't want it, fine, move to trash, right click, move to trash. If I do want it, then I go, where am I putting these? And I'm like, oh, I have a folder with family photos, for example. Okay, then let's put that one there. So then you go and you put it where it needs to go. And then you know, this isn't the financial one, but anyway. So I'm going to show you something new today about how to look into files. Notice that when I say I want to go into this one, I've always been telling you, go ahead and open this little arrow and you see what's inside of it, right? And you open this little arrow and you see what's inside of it, right? That's one. And then I open this one and then I see what's inside of that, right? So that's one way to do this. I like this way because it gives me a lot of information about these files, but there's another way that might be easier for those of you who are organizing. As in, you know how it is with the brand name. Some people prefer, one type of car, another type of car, one pair of jeans for another pair of jeans. What I'm showing you is another way to do the same thing, and you can prefer that way or this way. It's not that it's better or worse. It's not instead of, it's the same thing. If I look at class files and I will see what's inside of it, I have to click on that little arrow to open it. And inside of class files, like one level in, I'll see attendance rosters. And when I open that, inside of attendance rosters, there's what's inside the folder called attendance rosters. Does that make sense? If I want to see what's in class videos, I click on that and it shows me this is in class videos. But all of these things are inside of class files. Does that make sense? If I click on this file, it's going to tell me that it's in class videos, which is in class files, which is in my documents folder. So it's like 3 levels, 3 steps. My documents folder has a folder called class files. Inside of that, we have the class videos. And then I've got all these videos inside of them. Does that make sense, you guys? This is how I've been showing it to you.
Like a series of boxes, one inside.
It's a hierarchical system, yeah. You put things inside of things inside of things. So if I open this, so in the downloads, for example, for those of you who downloaded the class files, let me see, do I have the class files download? This is a different one. Oh, here it is. So in the files that I had you guys download, so Louisa, in your downloads folder, you have this right now. You have an example here called hierarchy, top level. When I open this one, this folder is inside of that one. That would be the second level. If I open that one, this folder is inside of this one, which is inside of that one. So this could be an example of this folder is called taxes, or this folder is called taxes. This folder is called 2024, and this one is receipts. 2024 receipts, which is inside of 2024, which is inside of taxes. Does that make sense? It's like folders within folders, and I can keep going. Folders within folders within folders. That's how things get organized. And you can keep going down and down and down. You can have many folders within folders. All right. And this is how you would see that process. I'm going to close this up again and give you one more example. For example, if you have a folder called family files and all your family uses the same computer, when you open it up, you can have a folder for dad, a folder for the daughter, a folder for the mom. When you open up the folder for the mom is taking classes, it sews and writes. When I open up writing, then, oh, she's a writer and she has interviews and novels and short stories. Okay, by the time I get to short stories, look at how many folders within folders within folders the path is showing me. Short stories is inside of writing. Writing is inside of mom. Mom is inside of family. Family is inside of documents. Does that make, no, in this case, it's inside of downloads. Does that make sense, you guys? How things are organized? Helen?
It's like, how do you ever find it?
Well, precisely. If my short story was loose out here, how in the world would I find it? But if I have, it's like saying, how do you find the yellow earrings in your house? If all the stuff you own in your house were in a big jumbled pile, you would never find your yellow earrings. But right now, if you want the yellow earrings to wear today, I'm sure that you go into your bedroom, you go into your whatever drawer or chest of drawers, you open up the folder that holds jewelry, you look in the thing and you have a little box with your earrings. It's easy, you know where to find them because that's where your earrings go. Does that make sense? This is what we're doing here. We are trying to make sure that we put things in files that are logical. Like if I have everything I write in a folder called writing, all mixed up, then if I write a lot, I would have my interviews mixed up with my novels, mixed up with my short stories. But if I made a folder for each one, and I've written 3 novels, 25 short stories, and my job as a journalist, and I have, 200 interviews, they're not all mixed up. And they're all inside a folder called writing. So it's easy to find. Does that make sense now, Helen? When you say, how would you find it? For example, the thing that you're wearing, that beautiful hanger, where does it go in your house? How do you find it to put it on?
With jewelry that hangs.
Where? Where does your jewelry hang?
It's on the wall
Where's that wall?
behind the door,
The door to what room?
the bedroom.
The bedroom is where? Inside of what? Your house. And that house is where?
In my property garden.
Inside of a garden in what neighborhood? That neighborhood of what city?
Oh my goodness.
That city, yeah, so it's like, that's the path to your necklace. Go to Santa Barbara City, go to that neighborhood, find that house, go to that bedroom, open that door, turn around, and behind the door, that's where you find your jewelry that's hanging behind the door of that bedroom. Does that make sense, you guys? That's the path to your necklace. I think the most logical example is your home address. How does a letter arrive to your house and not to her house? Because you have the address first has the number of your house, inside of what city, inside of what, depending, zip code, and inside of what country, right? If you're sending it overseas. If the letter just said, send this to Diana Musaki in Santa Barbara, I would never get, in the US, I would never get that. If it says Diana Musaki in Santa Barbara, I would still probably not get that. If it says Diana Musaki, Santa Barbara at 123 State Street, I'll get that. So it's just the path to where that letter has to be delivered, okay? So this is just the path. All right. Any other questions, you guys at home? People on Zoom about this whole thing? Okay, so it's just a hierarchical system, smallest to biggest, and hopefully within some logic. All right, now, one more way to look at all of this is actually, and this is what I was saying, I'm going to show you. This is the view it as list. But a comfortable way to view things, and I'm going to go back to my documents folder now, a comfortable way to view things inside of folders. I'm moving this over so that you guys can see. This tells me a lot about my files. I like that. But if instead of looking at as view, I look at these as columns, which is the one next door to lists. So let's go do that. Go to your documents folder without having anything selected. Just kind of move over and clean up your selections and go to documents and switch to view mode from list to columns. And some of you have a little icon like that you click on and you go from list to columns. Everyone look at your neighbors, make sure that everyone has their columns selected. You guys select as columns, select columns. Go over here to the view thing and click. Yeah. And this has columns. Okay, so is everyone there? All right, now, and you're doing that to the downloads folder that you got from me. Yeah, go to the downloads folder because you're gonna have stuff inside of that. Yeah, and now go and put it. Yeah. Okay, now watch my screen. If I just have one file, I click on it. And actually, I don't have anything in there, so let me click on this one. I click on one file. And over here on the right, you see a little preview of it. Again, instead of having to do the space bar to see it, you see even a bit smaller of a preview. And here it tells me information, when it was created and stuff like that. Great. I'll go to this one. Same thing. I'll go to this one. Same thing. These are like when you just have one file, but look what happens when you go to a folder. Let me just remind you, okay? Just look at this. Class files, okay, was the one that when I was looking at this in list mode, I had to open up. I'd see attendance, class videos, Mac. I'd have to open class videos to see the videos, right? That's what we were doing before. Now I'm seeing this as columns. Okay, so now when I click on this folder called class files, it has a little arrow here. This one doesn't. This one has an arrow. So folders have a little arrow. So when I click on it, In the second column, I am seeing what's inside of this folder. And then I go, I want to see my class videos. I click on class videos and it opens in a third column. So we know that this folder, and then when I open it a little bit bigger, I can see that this is, and it can show me, I can even press on this to see what video this might be. I could even see that video. I can click on this thing and it'll show me a little preview. I click on Mac class and there I see what's in the Mac class. Okay. I'm going to click on this thing that says Adobe. It has 2 folders. When I click on Dynamic Lens Saver, it has another folder. When I click on that one, oh, there's nothing in the 4th column. So this is an empty folder. So I'm following the path of my folders. This one, there's nothing in there. So that's what this folder has. It's 2 things that are actually, both of them are empty. So that means that I could probably delete this folder because there's nothing in there. So I'm going to move that into the trash because there's nothing in there. Okay, now I'm going to go to financial. Oh, look, there's only one thing in there. Okay, I'm going to go to the folder miscellaneous. It looks like I only have one thing in there. Now I'm going to go back to the downloads folder where I was looking at these. So this is my, in my downloads folder, I have a folder called class files to download. These are the sample files. When I go over here to recipes, oh, it looks like inside of class folders, I had recipes, and inside of recipes, I have all of these different recipes. When I click on desserts, oh, look, I can divide desserts into cakes, cookies, and ice cream. When I click into cookies, oh, there we go. Finally, I got to the recipes for cookies, desserts. Does that make sense, you guys? I can keep following through. I can also say, well, I didn't want the desserts. I just wanted to check the entrees. Oh, well, I guess there's some chicken. Oh, I guess I don't have any recipes for chicken entrees. I guess I better make some, right? Or soups. Oh, looks like I don't have versions of soups. I just have 2 different soups. This is that final file. This is the holder. And that's the holder, and that's the holder. So if you were to see these things in list view mode, you'd have to say recipes, desserts, cookies, and there's the cookie recipes. But if you view this in column view, then that's the folder, these are the recipes, there's the desserts, and there's the cookies. So we're seeing the same exact thing in just 2 different ways. Did that work for you? If you clicked on your samples, you have my exact same samples there in here, so you can do that. And everyone else, if you have a folder, open your computer, and you have these same files too. So go ahead and open and find your window. There. We're in file and send find. And I believe in your thing over here, yeah, let's go ahead and view this from here instead of an icons. So view it as columns. Yeah. And you can click on this, for example, and there's files, class files to download, and there's more stuff. So there's things inside of it. So I'm gonna click on Action Energy, for example. No, not with like right click. You're doing that. It's very different if you do this or that. So you should have 2 hands always there. That way you don't have to wonder where you're putting it. So put your 2 fingers there. That would be a right click. Would be that one, and the left click would be that one. So left click, which is the regular one, to go left click on Action Energy. On the word Action Energy. The tip of the arrow has to be on the thing, yeah. So. You're right with that. You're right with this. Okay, so grab first of all, we can't do it on this. So move this over. Okay, try that. Go ahead and do it yourself. Click on like how that. On the words, right? Don't try to go too much in space yet. So there we go. No, don't click again, because if you click again, you change the same, right? So now go click on something else. This is what's inside of assertive. Now go click on assertion class. Click on words. Yeah, and then we'll see that there's nothing. So what about this? That's, it's a folder. It's a folder that should hold something, but there's nothing there. It's an empty folder. Okay, so go back, go somewhere else, go to back. And then scroll, go over here with your mouse, and then you know how to scroll up and down with your finger? This. Not moving your, look at my finger, look at me. Just that. Scrolling. Okay, so go ahead and do that. There you go. And I'll go select and click on David Solis. Now take your mouse. Now you have to, this that I did is only for scrolling. Still need to move your mouse to go to this, so go to David Solis. That's what's inside of that one. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay, did that work for you guys? Okay, go to this folder. Go ahead and move this here.
And now if I wanted to just crash.
1 second, 1 second, 1 second, let me help. Close this window. Okay, let's go to this one and let's make it bigger. Put your mouse here, double headed arrow and pull it open. Okay, now let's go view your documents folder in this mode, which is common. Let me just show you something. When you lose it, if you do this quick thing, it's big. Anyway, go over here. Click on this thing. Okay, so now click on catering. That's what's inside of catering. Now click on whatever, documents 1, 2, 3, anything that's a folder. If it's a, the Golden Gate Avenue is a folder. Golden Gate Avenue is a folder. A folder holds things. It's empty. Okay. I don't know if you have my stationery. Do you have anything in there? Click on that. Oh, you have a lot of stuff in there. Okay, so some of these things have things and some don't. All right, how's it going over there at home? You guys like that way of seeing things?
Yes.
Do you prefer it? Do you prefer the first one? Which one seems easier?
Oh my God.
I like either one, but I typically keep it on list.
It depends on what you're accustomed to. One more second, Helen. Let me just show one more thing so people can work on something and I'll go give you a hand. I agree to look things as a list, and let me explain why, but not because it's better or worse. Because when I'm in this mode and I'm looking at class files to download, I see exactly what's in each one, right? In the class files, I have this family files and recipes, desserts, but I don't see at the same time what's in entrees. I have to switch to entrees and then I see what's in entrees, and I switch to desserts and I see what's in desserts. But I don't get to see both at the same time. Why would that be an issue? Well, let me back up again and go into list view for the downloads. Let me say that I'm in class files to downloads. If I'm in list view, I can open up class files to download, and then I can see what's inside of cookies at the same time that I can see what's inside of entrees. And I can see what's inside of cakes. Like I can open everything. Does that make sense? I don't have, this is for only those of you who are a little bit more advanced in there. I can look at inside of class files to download my recipes, and I can see that I open up and I have 2 recipes in soups, and that in desserts, here's what I had in desserts. I had cakes, cookies, and ice cream, and I can open cookies and I can find some more stuff and I can open entrees. So this for me, because I think when you're a bit more advanced, is a bit easier because then I can see everything and go, oh, well, this peanut butter is an ice cream, not a cookie. So I'll just put it in ice creams, right? And then I go, oh, no, it wasn't ice creams. It was supposed to be cookies. Like I can go that way. That's the only reason I like that better. That said, if I go to documents view, to column view, I find that this view might be easier to organize things because if I go down to the same recipes, and I go to desserts and I find my cookies and that peanut butter, then it's easier if this doesn't belong here at all, and it should belong in, for example, this folder, then I can grab it all the way from back here and put it all the way in there, like I'm seeing them. That's equivalent to what I did the other day that opened two windows that you drag from place to place. So in that sense, that would make it easier as I see things that are inside of things that I can then drag over. But it's the same idea. So some of you at this point might be looking at things in one way or the other, and that's fine. Just practice, see which one works best for you. In fact, I use both. For certain things, this one's better. For most things, I use the other one. But when I look at it this way, when I'm at the very end of the file, right? So if this is a file that's loose, it's not in a folder, right? And I click on it, say there, or there, then I get my preview. So in this mode, I don't have to hit the space bar. In this mode, I can just see the preview there instead of having to do space bar. Does that make sense? That is harder to read, but I can go here and say, what's in this one? And oh, that's not what's there, okay? So if that's big enough, I can see it all. I still prefer to do this because I can read it well versus there I get an idea. In fact, I can flip through it. I can see that it's a 2-page PDF or whatever, but but if I can't really read what that is with the space bar, I can make it bigger to actually read what that is. So it's a choice, okay? I just wanted to show you that choice because when it comes to organization, for those of you who are having a hard time organizing with the other mode, you might, I'm not saying you will, you might find this one a bit easier, and it's up to you to try which one works better for you. I want to hear any other issues with organizing, and Helen had her hand up a little bit ago. So yeah, Helen?
I just wondered how to delete this now, if I brought up this file.
Yeah.
And I could just delete it.
Yeah, right click, move to trash. So the question that she had in this mode, how do you then delete stuff if you get to the file that you don't want, right? So say that I get to the recipes and to the desserts and to the cookies, and I decided I don't want chocolate peanut butter, just right click, move to trash, same as before. Now, what you don't get to do is click on the peanut butter and right click on this. Well, actually you can. I guess you can, because that's just a preview. So when you right click on this to move to trash, it is dealing with the one that you've selected. So I guess you could right click on this too, to move it to trash. When you go over here, I don't know, cakes, carrot cake, I can right click and move it to trash, or I can click on it to see. Now, all these in the sample files, all my recipes don't really, they all just say nothing. They're sample photos. They're not really carrot cases, cheesecake, or lemon coconut cake. They're just samples. When we used to be here in this school, everyone was in the Mac lab instead of on their own computers, and you couldn't bring your laptops in the past because there was no Wi-Fi. Then I would make everyone make these folders. Everyone had to make a folder called recipes and put it inside it. We would all do the same thing to practice. But now you all have your own files, your real files. You're working with your real computers, except for Jane. So I'm asking you to do this with your own stuff. But I'm happy to just kind of help you figure out how to do this as a practice so that you can do it yourselves. say with the recipes. Anyone who, if you're completely good with organizing, you'd have no other question about organizing, nothing, then give me a yes. I'm fine. Yes, I'm so good. I need no more conversation about organizing. As folders and files and folders is all I'm saying, not other type of organizing. If that's
Oh, okay.
yes.
Files
If
and
you
yes.
still have some questions, why are you hesitating to do it? Why is it hard? What's the problem? Like Helen came up with all of the issues and reasons. Please ask me those questions now. Okay, so I'd like to hear from Honora, from Julie. I'm not seeing anyone here. I know that you did it work for you? Lisa, have you made new things? Because I will go ahead and, that's the alarm to give you guys a break. I see Julie has her hand up. When we come back, we're gonna work with creating a file and putting things into the right place. You had one more question before I go with Julie. Helen, I know you have many, but
How do I come up with the questions I need to get?
You
I
can
mean,
really
really,
go-
it's kind of-
you
it's all
asked
kind of like
me-
It's a big,
yeah, so maybe that's all you need to hear today and be done, and then just slowly try. I understand that some people come here with computers like Helen with thousands of files, but it's all a bit of a messy organization, and it is really
it's all new.
confronting to suddenly have to deal with all those files. It's easier for those of you who have, 100 files. We have thousands of files that are already in folders that might be wrong. It's kind of like trying to get into a maze and be told, here, turn this all into a straight line, and you're like, I don't even know how to get out of the maze. So yeah, sometimes it's a little bit harder, okay? But that doesn't mean that it's not doable. And yes, there's people who've been in my class quite a few times who started like you, Helen. So don't give up. Look at Julie laughing because she's like, yep, I was one
That
of
was me.
computer with tons of stuff. If you do you want to share your file, your documents folder at all, Julie? This is someone who is really, I haven't seen it. I'm just trusting. I haven't seen her documents folder in a while, but well, look at that. Woohoo! This isn't just willy-nilly folders. This is actually, she knows exactly what's where in this thing. So can you go up a little bit more to probably you have a genealogy document. So close the genealogy folder for a second. She has all this stuff about genealogy. Whenever she has a new file, now open up your genealogy, she puts it in here. Genealogy for friends, for family, general information, Jewish genealogy. Inside of that, anytime she comes in with information, puts it exactly where it works. Does that make sense? And I assure you that this was a mess when she first came to this.
The whole thing was a foreign language, let alone being a mess.
Are you feeling like it's a foreign language? I'm seeing 3 people here who might be in that condition. There.
Me.
But it takes some time and some doing. It's not like you just one day get gifted a motorcycle and you don't like jump on and start riding, right? Or roller skates. You got to learn until you can finally start, being on your roller skates. So you can't expect to be prima ballerinas the moment you are handed ballet slippers, okay? So.
Can I say something too?
Yes.
For the women, I don't know their names because I don't have a label there, but my suggestion is sign up when Deanna offers these classes again, because as she said, I've taken them 3 or 4 times now. I continue to learn, but I also get less confused when she's saying something. It's really been helpful. So take advantage of all the classes that she offers and sign up the minute they become available.
Thank you. And thank you, Julie, for saying that. It just occurred to me, my son right now is in a math class. He's a high school student, but he's taking a math class at City College. So he's at least 2 years younger than most of the kids who are in his math class. And sometimes he feels so lost, right? And so then he has to do double the work and go to the tutors and they help him. because he's working with stuff that to him, the concepts, he hasn't learned the in-between stuff, right? So he has to catch up. And that's fine. Between the tutoring, between the slowly getting there, then he'll get to the same place where once the teacher says something, he'll go, oh, I got it. But it's hard to stack knowledge upon knowledge when you don't have the basis. So if
Yeah.
all you get right now is begin to understand the concept of how we organize things, begin to know how to create a folder, and maybe, if possible, put something in it. Know how to move the things you don't want into the trash. If that's all you got right now, you're way many steps ahead than you were when you came in. By the time you work on this again and again, you'll end up with a documents folder that looks disorganized, okay? I don't know if you were trying to share your screen. If you have anything else to say that has to do with sharing your screen, I'll leave it up because you know you had a question.
Well, my question was, I was trying to create a new mailbox, and I know that's not the same thing,
Oh.
but it's similar because I created one and then it said,
Let me just explain. Mailboxes is something that's inside of the mail program, not
Right.
Finder. But she's right. In a way, a mailbox is a place where you hold, for those of you who don't know, certain mail, like mail from my family or mail from work, right? So you can make that, and it's equivalent to folders, right? Okay, so I just wanted to explain what mailboxes were. And yeah, I will get deep into the answer then because that comes next class. Just so you know, we have one more
Okay.
one class, Mac level 2. We'll start working with things like mail. But if it's a quick
Okay.
answer, just shoot out the question. Yeah.
well, I was trying to create a new mailbox
Mhm.
within other mailboxes.
Yeah.
And I put down Santa Barbara County
Mhm.
and I couldn't find it. So I thought, well, I didn't create it right. So I did it again and said, you can't do it because you already have it. Well, I don't know where it is.
Yeah,
So,
and actually that's kind of hard because in the Finder, you can do a search. And that's some of what we're gonna do when we come back is doing a search for finding things. Because what if you can't really find it in the folders? But in mail, you can search for the mail, but you can't really search for the mailbox name. There is no search for mailbox name. So all you can do is open up all your mailbox and see if it fit into one of those.
okay,
Or at this point, the workaround, call it a different name, similar, Santa Barbara County B, right? 'Cause
okay,
A is out there somewhere, and at some point when you come across it, you'll know that you can delete it, right?
okay. Good, thank you.
Yeah, so when we come back, we're gonna find out more about this search feature that I'm talking about, and we're gonna look at files, another even way of how to find where your stuff is, which has to do with beginning to understand the storage capacity of your computer. Because when we segue into Mac level 2, we're going to begin to figure out how to back up all this stuff, okay? How to save all that stuff. But first, I want you to know how much space you have, both in your computer and in the cloud, and how to handle that. All right, so let's take our break. Every time I say we need to take a break, and then we keep answering questions, we end up on the other side of the break, but that's okay. So 10 minutes, it's 3:36, so be back by 3:46
Yep.
p.m. All right, see you
Thank
guys in
you.
minutes. All right. And for everyone who's here, I can't forget this time my keys. I've been forgetting my keys. I hope Emma is here, but I can talk to her.
Third or second language.
Yeah, for people who grew up with it, it's
Second
It's
language.
clear.
Yeah.
that said, I'm telling you, file management is not such second language because, kids are kids and you don't want to pick up your room. Why would you know to put things in the right place in your computer either, right? My son who works with computers all the time and he makes films and files, he had never, don't listen to mom. So he had never learned file management until he had to, because to create projects like films, you need to be very clear with your files, where they are, where they're coming from, whatever. So he had to learn it. It's not innate. It's innate to use a
Right.
computer, but not innate to learn organizing your stuff,
Is he majoring in film?
Mhm.
I didn't know Cal had that.
He's not majoring in it. Yes, they have film, but it's really bad. He knows more than anyone he's teaching. They've had him teach some stuff, so he changed. He's not learning anything there because he knows much more than they do. So he changed to an interdisciplinary arts major where he gets to choose the classes he's taking. So he's getting a broader education than film because their film department is no good as far as he's concerned. So sorry, we're talking. My son's at Berkeley, and yeah, it's a great it's a STEM based
Yeah.
college, and the humanities he says are no good there. So yeah. Anyway, whatever. He's almost done. So.
Is it?
He's actually a junior, but he's taken so many credits, he's trying to graduate half a year early, so he thinks he'll graduate next year, so he's done, he really wants to leave Berkeley, he's like, he hates it so much, he's like, I hate that he says, if I do become famous and people say where he studied, that they'll mention Berkeley, he says, but I've learned nothing here. Like, I don't want them to even quote me. I'm like, whatever, relax, you'll have a Berkeley degree. Yeah,
He just went there. That's fast.
he had to do 2 years because he did, but he's gonna finish in a year and a half. 'Cause,
Wow.
he's taking a ton of credits and he's doing well. He's just trying to get out of there. So anyway. Yeah,
Still became vegetarian.
oh, how funny. No, he's because he didn't transfer as a beginner, as a freshman, he never got a school, he never got dorms, so he's making his own food. He became a vegetarian when he was 8 and he decided he liked pigs and pigs were food and he didn't want to eat pigs. And so then why he ate cows and he ate pigs. And so he's been a vegetarian all his life. Yeah. Anyway, right. I see most people are back. I know. All right, guys. Everyone's back. It's time. Oh, past another minute. So when we want to see how much space or not do we have for our stuff. So how many of you guys have a pretty new computer that's kind of empty, like you didn't have stuff on it? Raise your hand. And you guys may give me a green yes. Those of you who have a computer that's pretty new and you didn't have much stuff when you started, so it's pretty empty. I'm seeing. And that's true. You have stuff in it, but you don't know if it's pretty empty or not, because you can have a lot of stuff and still have a lot of space in your computer. So when you're very new to it, that's a good answer. It's like, I don't know. Okay. So we're going to go find that out right now. We're going to go find out how much space you have in your computer. Later, we're going to find out how much space you have in the iCloud, because they're two different things. So, okay. Now, I'm going to share. Let's open our system preferences for those of you who have something older than Monterey, or system settings for those of you who have something newer than Monterey. Actually, Remind me who has a system that at home, any system has older, I think you all were in Ventura or Sonoma, right? I think at home, no one has anything older than that? At home, it's on Zoom now. No? Okay, so then you guys are all gonna be Ventura, and over here, I think you're still in Monterey? In Monterey? So where are you, what's your top where? Go to the Mac settings, system settings. And you have system settings. You should be, your computer, you should be in update your operating system. I'm gonna do that for you. Okay, so then I'm gonna demo from this computer instead, from the system settings. Okay, so I'm going to share this screen instead. So system settings. And let me make this big so you guys can see what I'm sharing. Okay, so this is in our system settings, we can find both how much space we have in the cloud and how much space we have in our computer. First, we're going to go to how much space we have in our computer. So you're going to click on this word general. Everyone open your system settings and go click on general. All right, inside of general, you're in Monterey, right? So in your case, go to system preferences. Later we'll come here to system preferences. But so this is the only time you don't use the system preferences on older version. You use this. We look at it here, and later we'll come to here. But right now we're looking at this right there. Okay, so sorry, I have someone here who's still on the Monterey. So Jane, go to the Apple icon and say about this Mac. And then there's some tabs there. Go to the storage tab. There we go. That's how you find it in Monterey. For everyone else, you go to general. Okay, sorry, I had to set up two people here who have the older computers. Then we go to the word storage. Okay, right there, storage. So from general to storage. Now, anything that is in your system settings that appears here on this side of the screen right now is all about this computer that you're working with, this computer you're working. And in general, you'll see something up there and it'll say how much space you have used and how much space you have left. So anything that's got any colors over here, that's how much space you have used. And this long gray bar that's left is all the space that I have left. So you have a lot of space. That's true. And older computers as well. So you have a lot of space. Good. And now look at me for a second at my screen. You can be specific. Most people here that I'm looking at right now have about this amount, about more than half. Now over here, it's very specific. It says 189 gigabytes of 494 used. So let me translate what that means. Look at 494 gigabytes is how much space my computer can hold. And the way this works is the hard drives come in sizes like shoes and clothes. So 500 gigabytes is a typical size. 250 gigabytes is another typical size. 125 gigabytes is another size. And then when you get 1000 gigabytes, so 1000 gigabytes, it's equals to 1 terabyte. So this is the typical, some people are beginning to have 2 terabyte computers. These are typical hard drive sizes. So over here, I don't see the number 500, but I see 494.38. because a little bit of that number is being used, but that's basically a 500 gigabyte hard drive. Does that make sense? So if your number is anywhere near 250, your hard drive, the space in your computer is 250 gigabytes. If it's anywhere near 125, that's the amount of space. So when you look at this number, it's the second one that says how much has been used. So 189, basically 200 gigabytes have been used of my 500 gigabytes. See what I mean? So I have, this is 500 gigabytes and I have about 200 of them used and 300 are still empty. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Now, in the old version, Jane and Elena here, it tells you right there, 245, that's the number, that's 250. Okay. So your hard drive is 245. And this is how much you've used, and you have 173 of it available. So out of 250, you have 173 available. Yours is very, very, very empty. This one, of course, is this computer, and it's a 500 gigabyte, and you have most of it empty. And yours, general storage. So you have a 250 gigabyte, and you have used only 100 of the 250. Okay, so although the space looks the same, I still have double the amount of space total in my computer than you have, Helen, because your hard drive is 250 gigabytes, mine is 500. Does that make sense? It's just a bigger hard drive. Like, you know, I have a bigger house, I can put more stuff in it than someone with a smaller house, that's all. Someone with a 1 terabyte hard drive has space for even more. So, but all of us here have about the same amount used of our space available, right?
And you make more space available.
No,
That's it.
this is it. The computer you bought comes with a space you have, and you cannot add more hard drive space to it. These computers are not changeable. What you bought is what you bought. So, and now we're going to talk about options and alternatives, but right now, I want to know if anyone who's from home, who's on their computers at home, give me an idea of how your, maybe you can put it in the chat, how your computers are faring. Do you have, you know, you can round it up, like 200 out of 500, or how many megabytes you have? How are you doing? Give me, you don't even, if you know, if you're okay, I'm half full or a third full. Like you can say something like that. Does that make sense? Write
Mhm.
that in the chat.
48 or 250.
Now, normally I have people who have it very full. I'm saying normally because I used to have a lot of people in class. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of people who don't, and then the numbers I'm getting, okay, oh, here, I'll put it, the chat site. This is what the people are writing. Don has 600 used out of 994. So there you go, 994. That means he has a 1 terabyte hard drive. Does that make sense? And he has used 600 of them. So he has more stuff in his computer that I can even have in mine, who has a total of only 500 gigabytes. Does that make sense? He has the house with a mansion and the 3-car garage versus I have a house with 2 rooms and some of you guys have a studio. That's okay. We can just put different amounts of things in there. Okay. So Michelle is only using 1/5. It's very similar here, Nima. She's using 100 out of 500, so that she's using 1/5. Patricia 1/3. Julie, you have very, very little bit used, 48 out of 250. And Fred, you've used 145 out of 250. And then Patricia, this one is an interesting number. 6.3 gigabytes of 1.3. Can you share your screen so I can understand a little bit more? Are you on the computer that you can share?
No, I'm not, but it's 1 terabyte.
Okay, so why 1.3?
It's 630. It's 630. I'm sorry. It's 630.
600, yeah. Of
It's-
1.3 or instead of 1 gigabyte?
630 GB
Yeah.
of 1 TB.
Oh, 1 TB. Okay, so 630 gigabytes out of 1 terabyte. Very similar to Don, right there.
Yes.
Yeah, 600 out of 1 terabyte. Okay. Honor, I'm almost half full. You're at 100 gigabytes out of 250. So a little bit less than half full, yeah, which is fine. Okay, so no one's in dire straits. Good, yay. A lot of the times people do come with computers, and I think I've told you before that are, you know, like, I think I've told you the story, and she's in this class, she just isn't coming right now. Mimi, who had a computer that was so full that her things, you know, her line was up to here. Like this was full up to about here proportionally to however what size hard drive she had. And the computer was just kind of not working well. Just doing weird stuff. And so she went to the Mac place, and what they said is you just need to buy another computer. Because she came here and I'm like, no, you need to see if you have any junk in there that you can get rid of, right? And so we started looking through her stuff. I mean, yes, if she wants to keep all those 600 gigabytes or whatever, then at some point you need to do something. Add another hard drive. There's other ways, like you put an external hard drive and move some stuff out. But what we discovered in her case is that she, and I'm just saying this because this might be something that happens to a lot of you guys. She texts with her friends a lot, and she constantly receives and sends little videos. And I know that because that's something my mom does, and I know a lot of people do that. Little videos of, you know, I don't know, thoughts, quotes, things that are cute, or beautiful ocean waves, or whatever stuff, right? People are into pets and cute little funny. She has some dogs, and she would film her dogs doing something and send it, and she'd get little videos of someone else's dogs and stuff. Each one of those films or videos she was getting, she was putting in her computer, and everyone that what she was sending to. And by the way, when you text stuff that you've made, so if you film something and you send it, now it's 2 times in your computer. And then when someone sends it to you and you download it and you have it in your text on your computer, then it downloads, and that occupies all that space too. And she was really attached to those videos, right? I said, well, videos take up ridiculous amount of space. Now, I'm not trying to point her out as in this is a problem. This is just typical. People, you receive little videos, you just leave them there in your text messages because you just leave them there. Well, guess what? As if you leave them there, photos and videos that you leave there start to clog up your phone, and in this case, her computer. So I went to another part of the computer, and I'm going to show that to you, where you can see, you could see all the videos she had received. And she had received videos from 5 years ago that she'd never view again. You know how it is with text, that you look at the stuff and then you don't go back up to see stuff? How many of you guys in your text go up to see stuff that you received 2 years ago? Even 2 weeks ago, unless someone just mentioned a book you need to read and you scroll up a bit, oh, there, that was it. But for the most part, we just don't, it arrives and that's it, right? By saving them, she had hundreds or thousands of little tiny videos that she had seen once and never again, clogging up her computer because she would download them. We just dumped everything, and her computer became like this, almost empty and working again, okay? So there's that hidden stuff that you don't know you have, or you have no reason to have, that you might be able to get rid of. So I'm going to begin to show you a little bit of that stuff. First of all, when you have this version, Sonoma or Ventura, not on your version, on Monterey, it doesn't give you this automatic trash option. A lot of people put stuff in the trash, including you guys. After this class, you put a lot of stuff in the trash, and it sits there and it lives there for 1, 2, forever, how many years until you empty your trash. It's just moved to another folder. It's like have you ever made bags of things to donate, and they sit in your garage and you never, there they are. you have to go get to the place to give them away. So that's what's happening with your trash. It's just in another folder in your computer. So if you trash a lot of stuff, especially when you're organizing, and you just don't want to keep carrying that trash with you forever, you can turn on the feature to trash automatically. And so basically it gives you 30 days of grace period. When each time you put it in the trash, it lasts 30 days. So if you say turn on, then when something has been in there for 30 days, it disappears and it's gone forever. Now you can preempt that and just say empty trash and it's gone quickly, right? If you're in the middle of cleaning stuff and you just got rid of 10 really big files, just empty them immediately. But if you forget, that's a good way to keep your trash automatically going away. So you have the choice to turn that on. I'm not gonna tell you what's the right thing to do. Just if you don't turn it on, you must go check and empty your trash yourself all the time. Okay. Then it begins to show you different applications and how much space each one is using. Different applications, different parts of your computer. So my applications folder is using 69 gigabytes. Notice that over here, it tells me that I have used 187 gigabytes. So that means that basically 69 or 70 of them are just applications that need to run my computer, that I need to have in my computer. So just the system itself takes up space. Does that make sense? Stuff that I can't do anything about. In fact, if I go down, there's a little space here and I go to the very bottom, system data, it's still calculating, but that it's going to give me an idea of how much space is. And then Mac OS, just the Mac OS is using 19 gigabytes. So there's space taken up by your computer just needing to work. You buy a computer that has 250 gigabytes from the very beginning, like 50 of them or whatever are being used just to run the computer. Yes.
Nothing says I've got 180.
Yeah, and you know what? This is megabytes, which means it's very small versus gigabytes. Let me explain sizes. I don't know if you guys can see my board, but once you get anything smaller than gigabytes, it becomes megabytes. So you have 1 gigabyte is equal to 1,000 megabytes. So Helen is saying she found something that's about 500 megabytes in her computer and she was all worried about it. Well, consider that 500 megabytes is less than 1 gigabyte and you have 125 gigabytes available or 250 gigabytes. So it's really not that much. Does that make sense? I mean, every little bit counts, but it's not the thing that you're going to worry about. You're going to worry about the big numbers. Does that make sense? Of course, yes, if you get rid of a lot of the small numbers, you do make space. But if I get rid of 500 megabytes 20 times, it's still not going to empty as much space as one video that's a 1 gigabyte video. Does that make sense? So when I look down at these things, I can decide if I need them or not. When I think of my applications, I go, no, I need all my applications. These are stuff that's installed either by Apple or by me. And in this computer, I have Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. I have stuff that maybe you might not have, but that takes up a lot of space. So you might have less in applications. A regular computer that has the applications that came with it. Okay, so for you guys to see this, you should go there. So this is the equivalent, like you need 2 places to see that. In this is your version of what I'm showing right now. So you see that you have 17 gigabytes about, and then about another 16 used by the system itself, and another 16. So between that and that and that, you can't get rid of that at all because that's all the system stuff. So it's, let's say it's about 20, 40. So you have about 60 gigabytes of your space is part of the computer. So let me show you where to see the same thing happening there. You have to click on manage. Now, here's your applications. And in this computer, your applications take up also similar to my 69 gigabytes, okay? All right, so,
How do I empty the trash from that?
yeah, give me a second. I'm gonna get into that. Right now, we're one step behind that. So over here, it's just showing me what stuff I have. And I'm noticing that I have, say that I notice that I have a lot of something that I want to get rid of. How do I get into that is basically the question that Jane's asking. How do I get in here to do something? Well, let's start by, I'm going to click on the word applications, not click, go over here next to where it says gigabytes and see this little I that appears over there. If I click on that, I'm going to see this finder come up. And it's similar, those of you who have an older computer, it's similar, I'm gonna show you now. But it's showing me all my applications, right? And how much space they occupy, each one. So I can see that Premiere for videos occupies 6 gigabytes, Photoshop 5 gigabytes, et cetera, et cetera. As I scroll all the way to the bottom, at some point, OneDrive is 1 gigabyte, and then I start seeing 946 megabytes. This isn't bigger than that. This is like saying 1,000 megabytes. You see what I mean? So that is 1,000 megabytes. So this is less. Gigabytes is 1,000 megabytes. Okay, does that make sense? Why it's underneath? It's from top to bottom. Big. Here you have it, right there. So you can copy from there later. So 1,000 megabytes is the same as 1 gigabyte, basically. It's like saying feet versus yards versus miles, right? You see, I only walked 1 mile versus I only walked 1 foot. In this case, 1 foot is much less than 1 mile, but you'll see the number, like I walked 700 feet. And someone says, well, I walked 1 mile. Which one's bigger? 1 mile is bigger than 700 feet. Does that make sense? No?
If you know how many years.
Well, think about it, a mile versus feet. Okay, I walked 10 feet or 1 mile. We all know what 10 feet-ish looks like. You walk 10 feet or you walk 1 mile. Clearly 10 feet is small and 1 mile is big, but since the number is smaller, it gets confusing. So this is the equivalent to 1 mile and this is 900 feet, which, or centimeters or whatever, it's much smaller, okay? Even though the number seems bigger. And so as I head down to megabytes, we keep going down until you have things that are really tiny, like nothing, 4 megabytes. Now consider, let me be clear. These are thousands, right? So this is basically 6,000 megabytes, right? So if I'm going to get rid of something here to make space, does it make sense that I get rid of this 300 megabyte one? If we'd have to get rid of like, 20 of those versus one of these, right? So anyway, when it comes to applications, just as long as you use them, you're fine. But if you're not using them at all, and you said, for example, Jane, you weren't using your McAfee, let's say that I'm going to get rid of one of these. So say that I click on this to get rid of it. Watch, I could then from here just delete it. Now, I don't want you guys to do this willy-nilly. These are applications that your computer probably needs. You know what I'm trying to say? So I want to stop you from doing this to applications, because even if you've never used numbers, that doesn't mean yet that you should delete it. It's a Mac version application that comes for you to deal with, it's like Excel. So you not knowing what something is in the world of applications doesn't mean your computer doesn't need it. So I would hesitate and not delete things from applications at this point, unless it's an application that you know that you don't use at all or that it's really old. So then let's just not delete anything from here and let's say done. But it's much more interesting when you go to your documents, because documents, and I click on that, has more choices. Okay, so basically I said done to applications, which is where I have a lot of my data, but then I have 1 gigabyte worth of documents. So that's, let's go check that out. I click on that, and this time the files divide. There's like stops right here. Give me a yes if you got to this window and hang in there. And I'm gonna show people with Monterey where they find there. So please go there. And so, let's go to documents. And there you have the same window. So go to documents on the left side, Jenny. And you have the same window that I'm showing you right now. So let's say down to applications. I can do the even applications. And that's the I need to do the documents. Sit right here. Okay. Sit right here. How about at home? Do you guys have this? Give me a yes if you're here. I can help you find it. Otherwise, if you're not here, let me know. Give me yeses if you're there. And if I don't see you give me a yes, I might just check in on you. So. Okay, everyone said yes. Fred has an iPad. Okay, so watch. Up until now, I've been having you guys look at your files and delete them based on knowing, you know, the individual files. I've shown you how to, in the Finder window, you can see size and whatnot. This is another way to deal with your files where it's telling you what are your large files, which is stuff that people aren't aware of sometimes, and the ones that really do occupy real space in your computer. So if you under large files have nothing, that means that there's nothing that the computer thinks is large. But if you do have something, it's like, well, check this one out and see if it's worth keeping. So I'm going to click on this one and I go sample layers composite. Wow, that's 257 megabytes. Do I really need it? Now, if I don't know where it is, this is the one time that even without you turning it on, see, it's showing me where it is. Sample layers is in my fall download Photoshop class files, which is in my downloads folder in my SBCC teacher computer. So I'm going, oh no, I definitely do need this one. I teach it, so I can't get rid of it. Okay. Then it's showing me Santi third birthday party, 123 gigabytes, and then it shows it to me again. What do you mean again? How come I have it twice? Let's see. One is in the folder called downloads, this was a teacher, and the exact same name, which could not be in the same folder because it's not possible. The computer isn't allowed to have the same name. Oh, the other one is in Santi files to organize class files downloads. So I have the same file 2 times in my computer, and it's a big file. Do I need it 2 times? It's the exact same thing. In fact, I would say that you should avoid having things 2 times. Because when you have things 2 times, if say it's your novel and you have it in your computer twice, and you open one up once and you write the next chapter, and then next time you open the other one and write another chapter, and now you have 2 files that are named the same thing, but they've diverged. They're not the same thing. So it's better not to have 2 files, files 2 times. If you ever want something to be there to make sure that you don't lose it, you need to have it in another place and in a backup, but not on the same computer. Does that make sense what I'm saying? If you have it 2 times and you go in one direction or another to do your editing, now when you put them both together, you might think you have the same information in them, but you don't. And one you've already edited any typos that you might have written, and the other one you didn't. So when you join them, all your typos are back. Does that make sense? People are looking at, when people look at me like, then I want you to ask me, when I say, does that make sense? And people are like, I have no idea what you're talking about. These are 2 of the exact same file, but in the path, it's showing me that I have one in one folder, one in another folder. Right? Sometimes there's a reason to have 2 of the same thing in one folder. If it's my business logo, sure, I would have my business logo in many places. But if it's the chapter 2 that I'm writing, and then I have another chapter 2, what if I already made edits in that chapter 2, which is the right one? Now I have to open both chapter 2s and start looking at every paragraph to see where I made my changes and which is my last one. It's a mess. So you don't want 2 same files. You want your edits to always be in the only chapter 2 file that you have. that, as long as you have a backup, is being backed up somewhere else, and that's what we're talking about it in the next class. So you don't want to have two of the same thing, because that's a mess. So yes, I can choose one of these two, see down here in the past where it is, and decide, oh yeah, no, this is definitely the one that I don't want. In this case, I know that's the one I don't want. So then I can go from here and hit delete. Are you sure you want to delete it? It will be deleted immediately. Freeing 123 megs of storage. And this is important. You can't do this action. Let me clarify. This does not go to the trash. When you delete from this mode, I'll get you there in a second, Andrea. It is bypassing the trash. It's out of there. So you don't want to do this unless you're very, very, very sure you don't want it from here. If you do it from the Finder window, it's moved to trash, it goes and sits in the trash, and then you have to empty your trash. In which case, once you empty your trash, it's like this. It goes away and you can't find it. But here, it directly disappears. It will not occupy space in my computer. So this is what you would do if you really need more space in your computer and you need this. You just say delete. And boom, now I only have one of them. Okay? Yes.
I opened this and I have no idea what this is.
This is here having hit the space bar. Okay, so you hit the space bar. So that's why it's showing you that. But this is how a place to see it. This is a place to look at the file size, look at what it is, and decide if you want it. That's all this is. So you have 3 songs and a movie here that are what it's calling really big. Who else found stuff in their large files? You probably have some from the ones that you downloaded. So when you see something here, this is not where you would check it. This just tells you where it is, and then that's where you can go check it. So watch. Say that I do find this file here, and I don't know what it is, which is happening to Helen. She has 4 big files. She doesn't know where they are. So how do you find out? How do you go there to see what it is? Because here, if I hit the space bar, well, in this case, the space bar is showing me the video, and you guys can't see because my share, I have to share. Okay, let me share my entire window. Because in this case, if I want to see what each ones of these are, I'll do the space bar thing, okay? And in this case, if I do space bar, oh, it just did it a second ago. I just did the space bar and it showed me the video. And now it's not. Let me stop my share and reshare. There. So that's the video. It's when my son, the one that we were talking about earlier, was in college. This is his 3rd birthday.
Happy birthday to.
So then I go, oh, that's what that was. How about this one? I hit the space bar. Oh, that's the photo that I'm working on to fix. Okay, how about this one? So I can still do the space bar to see what they are. And then I go, oh yeah, I don't need that one anymore. So then I can delete it from here. Okay, now, in the case of Helen, I did this to hers and it wasn't showing anything. In her case, it's something that wasn't viewable with a space bar. So, yeah, see, you have the same one because that's the one we downloaded. So what you can do is just go to that folder, right? So I can go over here to this folder. Look what happened over here. So watch again. I know that this file, sample layers composite, is in this folder. So watch, I'm going to click on this folder here and look at what happened. That opened up and it's showing me where that file is. It's in the Fall Downloads 2020 folder. Had I clicked on this one to see it from there, it shows me that file. See how cool this is? If I want to know I've never seen this file, I have no idea why it's here, then I'll click on this. It doesn't open the file. It opens a Finder window, and that Finder window tells you where you are. Does that make sense? And then you can decide from there, oh, that's what this is, I do need it, or oh, that's in the wrong spot, I don't need it. And then you either right click from there and get rid of it, but you can figure out where it is, which in this case means it's in my fall download Photoshop class. Remember, you can always right click here and it tells you also the path. So up there, it tells you the path. Fall downloads is in my downloads in my SBC teachers, or down here. Fall is in my, and it's kind of see, when the window's so small, you have to stretch it out a little more to read. Fall is in my downloads, which is in my teacher, which is in my, okay? But it's taken me straight to it. So you can use that to delete from. Now, some of you don't have any large files, then it doesn't point them out to you. This feature that I'm teaching you right now is so that you can unload stuff in your computer that you don't need, okay? And so that's why it's warning you. These are the files you have. Now, I do graphics, and in my real computer, I have ridiculous amounts of large files, but that's because I'm a photographer and videographer. So it doesn't mean that just because I have them, I need to get rid of them. It's just pointing them out. And sometimes it'll point out music or videos. And this is where this student had thousands of videos. We would open each one and it was a little puppy eating something, or a little, you know, she had all these puppy videos and she's like, I had no idea. She selected all these videos, deleted them, and boom, her computer was fixed, okay? So keep an eye on that. Because a lot of people don't know to look in your downloads folder, like I taught you how, but a lot of people don't. It also shows you your downloads. And then it shows you stuff that's old. So anything that's older than 1 year that's in your downloads, you probably don't need anymore, right? And it's showing you by file. So I click on this one, which is pretty big, and I check it out. And what is this? Oh, that video. Yeah, that someone sent me this video because they're advertising something. I don't need that. I can select that and boom, delete it from here. Does that make sense? Or these are those flyers that I was saying, and delete it from. So, so are you sure you want to delete it? It's not going to go into the trash. I'm going to say, yeah, delete immediately. So if you left anything in your downloads, this is a way to go through them, okay? Last thing, those of you who have moved from computer to computer, like if this is your first computer, that's fine. But if you've moved your stuff from one computer to the next, this one's really important. When you go to unsupported apps, if you have anything here, those apps are not usable on your computer anymore. Now, I had some as a sample here, but I've already deleted them, so now they're not there anymore. But when you first open a computer that you've updated from Monterey to Sonoma, no, to Monterey to Ventura, Ventura to Sonoma, there's some apps that worked for Monterey that just aren't valid anymore for Sonoma. And that becomes trash in your computer. That no one is not going to be trashed by any other system other than you going to this unsupported apps and going, oh, this is something I don't need anymore. So if you guys have, like, for example, right, let's go to your unsupported apps. How about at home? Did anyone find anything in their unsupported apps?
No, nothing. It's empty.
It's empty. So if you've taken my class before, you've probably already deleted them, but no, nothing there. So if you have a newish computer, you shouldn't find anything there. Go ahead and click over here. Click on unsupported apps. As long as it's if you bought this computer already here, oh, look at that. Perfect example. So in case you want to see it, you guys at home, and Helen, she has 3 unsupported apps on her computer. And look at the dates of those apps. They're from 2012 and 2016. This is an example of stuff. These are apps, applications. It's not a file. A cookie recipe from 2012 is just as good as a cookie recipe from now, but an application from 2012 that cannot be run on your computer anymore because it's just too old is occupying space in your computer. So this is a place where you need to select them and delete them. Okay, so select that and hit delete, select that and delete. And then that's 3 things that you can't use anymore that are gone. It's usually for people who have been updating, who have been changing from operating system to operating system, okay? How's it going at home? Did anyone at all find anything in there?
Did I have to put in my password in order to?
Oh, yeah, actually, listen. When, what Helen is saying is she has to put in your password. When you get rid of an application like this, it's gonna say, put in your password to make sure you're doing it. A file, it lets you delete it. But if it's an application, it's like, who are you? Are you really the owner of this computer? Are you messing with me? So then it's asking you to put in your computer password, the same one that you use when you open it, or in your case, you can even put your finger in there because it's showing a fingerprint. It's basically trying to make sure that it's not me grabbing your computer and deleting stuff, okay? So it's asking you for that.
It says you have just Chico.
Yeah, so put in, it just needs to make sure that it's you. So enter your computer password.
What is that, Dora?
What's that? Oh, Eudora, that's email. It's an email app.
You seem to say like.
Yeah, Robert's a friend of mine.
Oh, is he? He's
Yeah.
so sweet.
Yeah, he is. But
You doing this
sure,
for
let me
him?
read it. But this is depends on, it's Yahoo. I'll read it, but this is not Mac. Okay, this is people who don't have a Mac, they have to use other types of apps. But anyway, hold on to this. I'll deal with you in a second. So keep it there and we can talk about it. Because I do want to, okay, let me just show you the last thing because I know class is gonna be over soon. So large files, downloads, unsupported apps, and file browser. So basically this is made to show you things that are usually problematic. It's not all the files in the world. It's large files, downloads that a lot of people don't look at, unsupported apps that, you know, are sitting there occupying space. They're truly, you know, banana peels, like really huge ones. And then last, if you want to just go to your file browser, basically this is your files. If you go into your documents, there you have all your documents and stuff like that. So this is the same as the Finder, right? And then you go on your files and there's my screenshots. And so this ends up, the file browser is basically the same as the Finder window that I've been using, okay? And notice that in this one, it says move to trash instead of delete. If you get rid of stuff from here, it treats it as if it were a Finder window. It's gonna go, okay, just move it to trash. It does not get rid of it. But unsupported apps and large files and downloads, it just gets rid of automatically. So if I get to the list when I deleted it, it goes away completely. So I wouldn't recommend doing this because in the end, to do this, you might just as well have a Finder window and do it there, right? And that's where you do all your stuff, find your documents. It's exactly the same. I know. Computer, my phone's telling me that class is over. So anyway, how we got here, Andrea, if you want to pay attention, you go to General, Storage. This tells you how much space you have left in your computer. We did that for quite a while. And then over here, in this little eye takes us to this place where we can start looking at this too. And your system preferences, system settings. Choose general. Now, I know class is over, you guys, but let me just show you one more thing because I told you I'd show you where also your what space you have in your computer is this. The other thing I tell you, just so that you can know where it is, but we're going to start on that, but not next week. Remember, the following Monday is how much space you have left in your cloud. And that you need to go up to your cloud. If you go up to see your name up there, click on that. And then click on the word iCloud. So click up there on your, you take your mouse up, Helen, to where you see your face, your name at the top. You're doing it, but then it's not. Right there to the Apple ID. Okay, click on that. Yeah. Now, you have to move your mouse, the arrow has to move to that. Move your mouse up. There you go. Click with this side. No. And then here. So then once you're here, you click on the word iCloud, and now you see something very, very similar to what we've been looking at. But now it's about how much space you have in your cloud. Okay? And if you are paying $1 a month, you have 50 gigabytes, and if you use 9, that means you still have a lot of space. If you're for free and you only have 5 gigabytes, you might have used it all. If you have 20 gigabytes or whatever you have, it'll show you this is your space in the cloud. And for people like you guys, then that's where you go to. Click on that, which that's to go to your cloud. Go in there. Just, yeah, Apple ID. That takes you to the cloud. Click on the cloud. And then down here, your storage, 5 gigabytes. Remember you were saying the other day how full it was? There it is. It's full. You either need to start paying $1 a month or you can't use it. So go to your system preferences. And then you would have to click over here to your Apple ID. That's true. You're not signed into your Apple ID. Have you signed in? You know, you want to- I know. Okay, so because I know that it's time to go, but there you go, that's your cloud. So if you're probably paying two, oops. I know, an ending class. So keep an eye on that. The only reason I showed you this is because if this is where you are and you need to make more space in there, everyone says, oh, I'll just delete stuff. Well, if you've gotten rid of a lot of videos, that's what literally takes a lot of space. After your video is done, then you would have to take hundreds of photos out to make any difference here because photos are the next biggest thing. I'd say that if you're still very full, your next choice is probably to just start paying one tier above. You go here to the manage and you change your storage plan. And if you're paying 99 cents a month, you might move up to $2.99 a month, which for example, Andrea has 200 gigabytes of space. She's paying $2.99 a month. So in your case, this is very full. So if you want to be able to put your stuff, remember the other day you showed me files that weren't in your file? You have to click on manage right there. And then choose, and it comes up, add storage. And that means you can select this, up until now you've paid nothing. You would select this, which means $1 a month. I'm not gonna have you do that. Then you go next, I'm not gonna have you do that. And then over here, it's gonna ask you for your password and then it's gonna ask you for your credit card and that kind of stuff. But just so you know, if you don't do this, right? Well, no, but if you don't pay, all the photos that the other day you showed me that I went to the internet and that you don't have there, you don't have here, if your computer dies, it's gone. And if your phone dies, your phone's photos haven't made it to the cloud because your cloud is full over there. It tells you already. So all the photos you have in your phone, if you know how when people have their house fires and the thing they miss the most is their photos. So if your phone holds all the photos that you own and you lose it, that's it. Unless you pay $1 a month to have them saved in the cloud. Just that's your only like for your phone. For your computer, we have other backups that we're going to talk about next time. But for your phone, the only option is to start paying $1 a month, $12 a year. I think it's worth it, but you are the owner of your own decision making about that, right?
So basically the computer.
Hold on. Guys, I want to acknowledge that the class has been over for a lot of time. So if you need to go, please go. Don't feel like you need to stay. I'm still answering questions, but officially class is over. So see you guys not next week, the following Monday. Okay, next week is spring break. Have a good one, and I'll see you next Monday. You don't have to leave either. You can keep hearing questions, but if anyone has to pick up and go, please do so. Yes.
I would just make the comment, you said that the computer itself, you can't add more space to the computer, but you can add more space to the cloud.
Great point. Helen asked me earlier if I can add more space to my computer, and my answer was no. Your computer, once you buy it, that's how much space it has. But yes, the cloud, you can add more space by paying a fee to add more space to the cloud. So great comment. I hadn't thought of it that way before. So yes, If you want more space on your computer, what you can do is add an external hard drive connected with a cable, and it's like you've added a little storage room to your house, right? You can put more stuff in there, but not in your computer without adding another piece of hardware. But in the cloud, you just pay.
That brings up another
Yeah.
question. Like I've got old hard drives that I've used in the past. I have no idea if they're full or not. If I plug one of those into my computer,
Yeah. Next class, the first day of class, I'm gonna ask you guys that if you want to do backups, because to save all the stuff we're doing, you're gonna have to go buy yourself a little hard drive, an external hard drive. And if you already have hard drives, you might want to check and see if you have any empty ones, or if you have old stuff that you don't need and you can get rid of them, because the hard drive that we're gonna use for backing up has to be empty. But if you have hard drives that you've used in the past, you might plug them in and discover you have stuff in there that, oh, I didn't know where this was. That's cool. Because if it's not a backup, it might have been just extra stuff. And then you have it now, but you can't necessarily use that as backup or you would lose it, right?
so then I need to know how to open the hard drive to find out what's on it.
Yeah, well, that is, again, partly what we're gonna do next class, but when you open a Finder window, over here, I am seeing where my documents are, my downloads, my iCloud. If I plug in a hard drive, and I will, as of next class, I'll start bringing one because that's part of the class. You would see right here, then that hard drive, you would click on it as if this was that hard drive and you'd see what's inside of it.
I think
So once you plug it in, you see it right here in your Finder, in your sidebar of your Finders, and that's where you click on it and it shows you everything that's in there. Okay?
Thank you.
And if you have stuff that you don't need and you want to use that for your backups, I'll teach you how to erase it and then use it as a backup. So that's all Mac level 2. Yeah, Honora?
I just figured it out myself, never mind.
Okay, well, that was quick. Okay. Any other question, you guys?
Nope.
Nope. No, they're
Thank
here.
you.
All right.
Enjoy the week off.
Yeah, I will. My son's coming home for a few days. All right, bye.
I see April 1st.
April 1st.